Welcome back to another video. Now, we've got a PC that we had in last video, so go and check that one out before this one if you want to see the build progress or process of that one. We've got the Mini ITX build back in. After 1 month of use, there's something wrong with it and we have to figure out what is going on. So stay tuned, we're going to go through our diagnostic process right after this. So before we get going, I've actually just gone through most of the testing process, most of the diagnostic process, and then realized that the mic was turned off. So we're gonna have to do it all again just to show you guys, but we love this stuff, so it's no big deal. Right, let's just show you what we've actually just done. Okie dokie, so just going through this briefly again because I've actually just done this. One thing you can do before you do anything else, which is really easy to do, if you can get access to it, is to reset the CMOS or the BIOS or UEFI, whatever you want to call it. These two pins on this B550, this ROG Strix B550 iGaming, these two pins here reset the BIOS. Now we've already done it, but you can get a jumper, which is basically a plastic sleeve which goes over the top of those two pins there, and that will create a contact between the two, and that will, if you hold it on there for long enough or keep it on there for long enough, I think it's about 10 seconds, that will actually reset the BIOS settings. And if there's any weirdness with the configuration that you've changed or someone else has changed, then that will reset that back to factory default settings. So just to show you what that actually looks like. So we're going to use a screwdriver to do this, and I don't have a jumper. So you would hold that on for, if I can get it on there, like that. As long as it's making contact, that is fine. You hold that on there for 10 seconds. As I said, we have just done this, so this isn't going to work, but I want to show you how to do this. Now we're not going to hold it on there for the full 10 seconds, so I think we're going to let that go now. But what you would do then, you would actually unplug it from the power and do that. Obviously make sure it's not on. It would be off if it's unplugged from the power anyway. But do that with the power unplugged, and then try and boot it up again. So I've already done that. I'm going to show you. We'll turn it back on just to show you guys. So let's turn the power back on, turn it back on, and once again it detects there's a signal or something. There's no signal obviously, but it detects there's a connection but no actual signal. Now you may notice there's different RAM from what you saw a moment ago. That is because, as I said, I've already been through the process of this, so I've actually just swapped the RAM with some Ballistics Gaming Max RAM, DDR RAM there, and that didn't work either. So you've just seen us power that on, and yeah, it still didn't boot up. So the next thing to do would be to, if you've got another stick of RAM, so we've got two in this machine, this is the original sticks that came out of this machine, try one in one slot, and then try the same one in the next slot. Not together, obviously, on their own. So take one stick of RAM, put it in one slot, turn it on. If no post or no display, turn it off on the socket or the switch on the power supply. Take the RAM out, try it in the next slot, turn it back on the power supply, turn the computer back on again. And if there's no output, then we move on to the next part. So logically, the easiest part to start with would actually be the GPU. And I'm going to show you that we've actually swapped it out, and you'll probably see it on the table in a minute. Now we've already done this, but we'll show you anyway. That would probably be where I would actually start. Do the GPU first because it's most likely the easiest part to get to in your computer case. All right, so as you can see here, we've taken out the 3070 that was in here, which is actually here, just to show you that we've actually changed it. This is the one that was in it initially. We've taken that out. We're going to test that in another machine in a minute. We've swapped it with the 3070 Ti here. And before you ask, the power supply is a full 850 watts power supply. Is it 850? Might be 750. 750 watt power supply. That is more than enough to power the 1070 Ti, 3070 Ti, oh my God. And So that's actually the same power supply as I have in my other rig behind me. So I know the power supply is fine, and that works just fine for this PC. So what we're going to do, we're going to fire it up again with this GPU in there. The power is connected correctly. Of course, that would be the other thing to check, is make sure that the connectors for the power are pushed in properly. That's an easy thing you can do without having to remove any components. So yeah, before you go swapping out GPUs, check to make sure it's actually in there properly, and that it's also pushed into the PCIe slot correctly, because if it's not in properly, then that can cause a similar kind of issue. Now, that's not the issue today, and we'll get to that later on. So let's just fire this up. Now you can see the fan spinning. That's a good sign. That means it's powered to that. But as you can see on the TV, still no output, and it is still connected, just to show you that it's physically connected. There's no trickery here, and also no display. All right, so we've tried a different graphics card. We've tried a different stick of RAM. We've also tried resetting the BIOS or the CMOS. We've done that as well. So the next logical step would be to swap out the CPU and see if that's causing any issue. Now, it just so happens we've literally just done that, as I said a moment ago. So I'm not going to change the CPU out this time. You can actually see the CPU here. I've already put it here, and I'm going to put that over there to keep it separate. I had another one here. I actually had two, because it's currently in there and it still isn't working. But we've got 3800 and a 3800 XT, not just lying about, but I've got them available to test. So yeah, as you can see, it is actually in there. Trust me, it's in there, and it's still not booting. So that leads us to our next thing that we can check. All right, so we've got the system powered off at the socket, at the switch on the power supply now, and I'm just going to show you one thing that I did notice earlier on. We are going to turn it back on because we need the power on for this. Now, we already know there's power to the board because we've got the illuminated LEDs on the back of the case there for the audio sockets on the back. They light up. Now, on this, there are post LEDs. So the post LEDs that I'm trying to find are actually really sneakily hidden there. You can just about see those LEDs there where my finger is. Those four are post LEDs. Now we're gonna turn it on, and you'll notice the LEDs lit up. That literally did not light up at all. That is the first time I've seen that light up. What the heck is going on? That is interesting, because this entire time, now I've already been through all this before, and those did not light up at all, but we're now actually getting a post LED. See, this whole video was about this not working and the post LEDs not working, basically. So they're now actually lit up if the camera will focus. Because of the light, it's a bit difficult. So let's try it from a different angle, just to verify that I'm not losing my mind. So we now have an orange LED. So this can actually help us diagnose what an issue is. I was just about to say that these were not lighting up at all. I've tested this multiple times with different CPUs and all sorts of different things, and these did not light up. This is the first time I've seen them light up this entire time. So I'm going to check the manual and just find out what that means, because that's new. All right, so I've put another stick of RAM in there. As you can see, there's two now in there, and I'm still getting the orange LED. I swear that was not that wasn't showing. Honestly, that's what this whole video was about, as I just said, and that was not showing. Now we're getting that's actually the DRAM LED there. There's 4, and the bottom one is for DRAM. So it's telling me there's a problem with the RAM. I know these are good because I literally just pulled these out of a working machine. So, and I can verify that these are fine. I can put these in the other machine. In fact, let's do that now. All right, so here we go. This is my machine. It's a bit of a mess, but it's a work in progress. So forgive me. You can just about see, hopefully you can see if I can shine some light in there. We've put the RAM in. That's these two here. They're in. And we've also put the graphics card in for good measure as well. We're doing both at the same time. And obviously we put the CPU back in there as well, because I have to take that out to test in the other machine. So let's fire it up and see what happens. Now, when you put new RAM in an AMD system, it normally takes a little bit longer to boot up. So there's our diagnostic LEDs there. It will probably restart in a minute because it's got different CPU and different RAM in there. So there we go, fan's gone off. It's now going to restart. And it looks like it's booting now. So we're getting a display on the screen. So let's move over to the screen and you can see that it's actually booting up just fine. We get an output and that's exactly what we want. Now it's moaning about the FTPM because it's got a different CPU in there. That's fine, that's what we expected to happen. And yeah, there's a display. So that's with their graphics card, their memory, and I have already tried their CPU in there, but that's my original CPU in there, but that's neither here or there. The RAM is good. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the RAM back out of this, put it back into the system over there, because we're now getting post LEDs on that one, and we weren't previously, and see what happens. All right, so we've got the 2 sticks of RAM out that we've just taken out of that other PC. So let's get this one turned off. Wait a second, and then we'll get these sticks of RAM out. It is a bit fiddly working in a mini ITX case, but those are the kind of things you have to put up with if you want to go small. So we're going to put these back in. Now we're getting post LEDs, and see if it boots. I mean, I haven't changed anything. Well, that's not true. We've done a reset of the BIOS. We've changed the graphics card in, so we know that works because we've just verified that in the other machine. So we know the graphics card is working fine. Right, power's back on. Let's fire it back up and not worry about the output right now. Just see if we get any post LEDs, because we should get an orange LED. They should change as it goes through the different systems and checks. So that's gone straight to the orange, which is DRAM again. Now we've just literally verified that these sticks of RAM are good. So what we're going to do is just double check that we don't get an output on the TV. And hello, you can see me. And what we're going to do is, not that one, just double check, and there we go. No signal detected on HDMI 2 as we previously got. So we come to a bit of a junction point here. Now we have actually changed the CPU. I know the CPU works fine. It's not the CPU. This is saying there's a problem with the RAM. We know the RAM is good because we've just tested it. It booted in another machine literally 30 seconds ago. So we know that's good. So the motherboard, I'm thinking. So this is the conclusion that we came to. Now, as I've said, I've already gone through these steps already, but we're currently going to be in the process of RMAing the motherboard, because previously I wasn't getting any post LEDs. Now it's really weird that we are, but it's good that we are, because it means that maybe the memory controller's gone. But I was under the impression that the memory controller was on the CPU. So, and we've swapped the CPU. So what I might actually do is, just to double check that isn't something to do with this CPU, we're going to put another one in there. We're going to put another one in and just see if we still get an LED, because that's just something that I really would actually like to know. So let's do that. All right, so we've actually put the original, the one that came from this machine, the 5800X, back in there. So we're going to put the cooler back on. Now I need 2 hands to do this because it's a bit tricky and quite tight. So I'm going to put the cooler on and let's fire this thing up and see if we still get that post LED showing. So the cooler's back on. Everything is back on where it needs to be. So let's turn the power back on the power supply. And let's move that light out of the way so we can see the post LED if they do decide to light up this time. And let's fire it up and look out for those post LEDs. It's gone quiet at the moment. Now, it has had a new CPU put in there, or a different CPU, so it will probably do a reboot if it's working. Nothing so far. Still nothing. That's interesting. So we've still got power to the LED on the cooler there, and we've got power to the motherboard, but no post LED. So we're going to flick the TV back on just to double check it is actually not booting. And there we go, still no signal. So with the 5800X in there, there's no post LED, nothing at all. But with the 3800X, I believe it's 3800X, might be the XT, we had a post LED. Now this board definitely worked with this CPU. I guess the next thing we could do is try a BIOS update, because it does support BIOS flashback. But as I said, this one was Ryzen 5000 ready, so it just works. So although we've got an open RMA with this motherboard, I do want to just double check that it still works with my CPU. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the CPU once again off camera, just to verify that it's not just that chip that causes the post LED on the motherboard to show, because that would be really strange. And I just want to verify that the other CPU that I've got also makes the post LED show up. So it looks like Ryzen 5000 series for some reason isn't showing the post LED, or what should be the DRAM error, because apparently there's a DRAM error, just to verify that it's something to do with that series of CPU and not the 5000 series. So yeah, anyway, long story short, I'm going to swap the CPU over with a 3800X or XT, because I can't remember which one that is. So the other one that's in my machine, I'm going to take out and put in here to see if it does the same as that one and show the post LED. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, let's just get on with it. All right, so we put the other Ryzen 3800X, I think it's 3800X in there. Basically it's not the one that we just tried a moment ago, and that's the 5800X. So we've got another one in there, and we're going to try and see if we get post LED with this CPU. We definitely don't get it with the 5800X, that's for sure. So let's fire it up and see if we get it. Now it came up pretty much straight away last time. Of course it's got a different CPU in there, so it might need a moment. They're definitely not lit up right now. Gotta say, it's as quiet as a mouse, this thing. I know it's not under load, but it's still bloody quiet. Still no post LEDs. Interesting. So what we've learned from this is that's the 3800 XT. I've just double checked that. So that's definitely the only one so far that seems to show a post LED on the motherboard. Let's just double check there isn't any post LEDs showing. No post LEDs. They're in there. You can just about see them. Just there. They're not lit up. They should be lit up. And the 5800X also does not show the post LEDs. The only one that does is that one, the XT, the 3800 XT. The 3800X does also not show the post LEDs. So let's just double check this. Let's just turn the power off again. Wait a couple seconds and we'll try again. Nothing else has changed. I've literally just kept the case in the same place. Nothing's moved, nothing's been unplugged apart from the CPU. So let's just turn it back on. Power on the board, because we've got the little LED coming on. And let's fire it up again and see if we get any post LEDs. You can still just about see them in there. That white line is basically the LED strip for LEDs. And still nothing. Still no post LEDs. So something weird is going on. And the next thing that we can change, we've changed the GPU, we've changed the CPU, we've tried 3 different CPUs. We've changed the RAM, we know they work. We tried them in another machine. We've just pulled this out of a working machine and it booted. So all these 3 CPUs that we have here, they work just fine. They work in the other machine. I have tested them already. But the only thing we haven't changed is the motherboard. Now, as I said before, we've got an RMA for this board. So this one is going to go back. But to save time on a video, we actually already have another replacement. So I'm going to grab that. There we go. As if by magic, it has appeared. So this is the replacement. The only difference between this and the motherboard for this one is that the sticker says ready for Windows 11 or Windows 11 ready. They're both Windows 11 ready. But anyway, this is a brand new one. We've got this all ready. So the Asus ROG Strix, if I can close the lid, the Asus ROG Strix B550i gaming motherboard, awesome board, but for some reason we've got a dud. So what we're going to do, we're going to have to swap it out. As you can see, it's still in its nice packaging. We're going to take that out, we're going to swap it over and see if it boots. Alright then, so before we sort the motherboard out, I'm going to try one more thing that you can also do as well. We're going to BIOS flashback using the latest BIOS at the time of filming this video anyway, 220523, so that's 2208, and that adds support for updated AGESA to combo V2PI1207 and system stability, there we go, that's a word, improved system stability. So we downloaded that, and we've actually copied that onto a memory stick. So the only thing we've got on the memory stick is literally the file. You have to rename it to that name for it to recognize. We're going to pop that in to the USB port. There's a dedicated USB port on this one. It does say in the manual that you can plug it into any, but I want to plug it into the correct one, which is highlighted by the box around the USB flashback there. So we're going to plug it into that. Now this may not work, but it's the only thing left to try before we swap the motherboard out. So we're going to fire that back up, turn that back on. These were the lights I was talking about earlier. They light up, but you won't see them when it's plugged in, so yeah. Anyways, that's neither here or there. So we're going to do that. We're going to turn it on. We're also going to turn the TV on to see if we do get any display. I don't think there's any display while it's doing a BIOS flashback or anything like that. Whether that's even going to boot, I don't actually know, so I guess we'll see. No signal on the TV as we'd expect. Don't think it does output any signal at all, so I don't know how long to leave it. I'm going to leave it probably about 10 minutes or so. There's no light flashing on the memory stick. I bet it's on the other side. Sometimes the light's on the wrong side so you can't see it, so I'm going to have a look at that and see if anything changes. Still no post LEDs, but I'm not expecting any while it's doing a BIOS update. So I'm going to leave that for about 10-15 minutes or so, and then see if that's made any difference. Alright, so the BIOS update didn't work. The board just stayed there. I actually left it for about 30 minutes or so and nothing changed. So this one here, we've now taken it out, and well, it doesn't work. As you saw previously, the post LEDs up here in the corner just were not lighting up for the 5800X and the 3800X, but they did for the 3800 XT, which is really weird. So this board is going back, as we've already said. That's going to be replaced, but in the meantime we do actually have the other one, which I showed you earlier, but we've now fitted everything to that board. As you can see here, I'm shining the light on it because it's a bit dark in this room. So this is everything from the original system, the Mini RTX build, 5800X CPU, Be Quiet cooler. We've put the hard drive in obviously because we want this thing to boot, so that's a good thing. The memory, the original memory, which we tested, we know is fine, and the Zotac Gaming 3070, which is also fine. That's been tested, plays flight sim beautifully, so that's all good. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and fire this up. Hopefully the thing boots. So let's give it a go, shall we? Alright, so let's flick this thing on, turn it on, and if you come on over, we're going to jump start this thing because we haven't got the power connector, the power button connected to the board yet. It's all kind of just still in the case. That's why we're setting this thing up outside the case. We're going to use the trusty screwdriver to start this thing up. So we're going to contact these two pins. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, to be honest with you. It's going to be a bit tricky. It's not that exciting. It's just bending two pins. So that's now booting up. And if you come around here to the post LEDs, you can see what we should have seen on the other motherboard. It's cycling through the different modes, and that's going for all the different checks that it does during the post, and it should turn green, which means it's booting. There we go, it's green. Now if we go up to the screen, you'll see Republic of Gamers, and away we go. There it is, booting. It's complaining about the TPM module because as far as this chip is concerned, this was for another motherboard. Now the TPM module is actually on the CPU for AMDs, not on Intel though. So we'll sort that out another time. But the fact that we've got an image on the screen is a good sign. It's booting. The board is on. So let's press N on the key and see if we can get this thing to boot. So yeah, there we go, 5800X. The RAM timings are wrong at the moment. It always defaults to, for DDR4, 2666, so that's normal. That's okay, we can sort that out afterwards. It's got the hard drive detected there. And it's complaining about a new CPU, because according to this motherboard, it is a new CPU. So we're gonna continue and see if it boots. This will be the literal first time we've tried to boot. Oh, it's just gone straight into BIOS. So, and secure boot should be on. Windows UEFI, so that can be on. And that's off, we don't need that on this one. I think that's all we need to do for the moment. What we will do though, we're going to set the RAM speed, the overclocking for the RAM. So we're going to go DOCP, which is basically XMP if you're on an Intel system. And that, believe it or not, 360603 is the correct speed. It's just how it detects it on this. We're going to leave it as that. So you can see there, memory frequency 3600, which is what it actually is. So that's overclocked from 266. So that is what you're paying for. But by default, DDR4 RAM is always 2666. So we're going to exit and save that. There we go. As long as you get the spinning disc in the middle. We don't, so we're going to have to just go no on that one at the minute. I'll sort that out another time. Should get the spinning circle. There we go. So Windows is booting. That means it's booting into Windows. And I don't even know what image is going to be on the screen, so hopefully it's nothing inappropriate. I can't imagine it will be. Who knows? I have no idea what's going to come up on the screen. Might take a little bit longer to load up, but it's, well, there we go. Straight into the desktop, no password. So this was built with the intention of City Skylines, and you can see on the desktop there, she's actually left some of the programs that I used to test it initially, and the City Skylines is there. So I haven't got a mouse to move anything around, but as you can see, everything is loaded and we're in the desktop. So there we go. We've successfully swapped the motherboard, but the troubleshooting steps to get to the point where we determined that the motherboard was at fault in this instance. You hopefully got some sort of education from this video with the steps that you needed to go through to kind of diagnose what the issue could be. Now, there are other issues that it could have still been that we didn't cover in this video, and if you'd like us to cover those sort of things, then please do comment down below. Commenting down below greatly pushes this video and helps with the YouTube algorithm by showing engagement in the video. So if you've got any suggestions about what you want to see with tech related content, then please do comment down below, or in fact in any related video of ours. That would be a great help. And also, if you found this content valuable, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to see more great content like ours and see where we're going in the future, then maybe hit that subscribe button as well, and the notification bell. Now that's all out of the way. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in our next tech video. Bye.